1950. He was as much like his father as anyone could be. And the thing really, of course, I would like to sear some of my conscience. We were Lydon's second family, but I never had the privilege of being, of course, the first lady or anything. But he did take care of his responsibilities.
How did he do that?
This attorney, Jerome Ragsdale and Jess Killam, it was through the attorney, Jerome Ragsdale, that Lydon had it set up that we would be taken care of.
Would he give you charge cards or
well, the thing that I could go get anything I wanted.
Charge accounts?
Yeah, that primarily Neiman Marcus in Dallas. But all bills went to Jerome Ragsdale in the Mercantile Bank, the same building where Hunt. They were all housed together. And it was real exciting. I had perfume and flowers and clothes, new car. It was a very full life in that respect.
Did he pay for your home? And
he bought me a home.
All your living expenses?
All my living expenses and anything. I was told repeatedly, if you need anything, all you have to do is call Jerome Ragsdale. But the way I was reared, I was very thrifty and economical. I never took advantage of it. If I had my time to go over, I would.
Yeah.
But not now.
Okay. Tell me more about, what was your son's name?
Stephen Mark Brown. I named him because of a saint. I asked Jess Killam, I said, does Lydon want to have anything in naming, or a part in naming our child? And he didn't. He was cold in one way, but he was warm in another. But during those years, if anything like this, particularly after the Box 13 scandal, it would have destroyed Lydon Johnson. And I cared for him, and I still have warm feelings for him, that I didn't want to destroy him.
Yeah. What happened to Stephen? I know it's hard for you to talk about, but let's discuss it a little bit.
He passed.
Okay, but where did your sons, you had two sons?
I had two sons, Jimmy Glenn Brown, and his father, of course, died in a VA hospital. He was a World War II victim.
He was your husband?
Yes. I was legally married to him.
Now,
and
where'd your two sons go to school?
Texas A&M, both of them. Big Aggies.
One of the best school in the entire world.
Yeah, I often, when Jimmy started at A&M, my friends had written this Texas Aggie joke, and so we'd gone to all of the parenting, where to go to college and everything. Of course, SMU was right in Dallas and Baylor, and so I told my son, I said, son, you've got to make up your mind where you're going to college. And he said, well, I'm going to A&M. I said, A&M? Of course, all these jokes were fun. I said, are you sure? And he said, yes, Mother. So we drove down to A&M to check everything out. So when I came back, I told my office, I said, Jimmy's going to A&M. Well, you talk about being hoorah'd, you know. Oh, he's going to be an Aggie, you know. Every once in a while I run into these people, and they still, you know, mention it.
Yeah.
Of course, when Stephen got ready to go to college, well, because his brother was an Aggie, then, of course, he, you know, wanted to be an Aggie.
Yeah.
We had a great time in those years.
Yeah.
It was military in those years.
Right. Now, what you'd mentioned in the past about a lawsuit that
Stephen filed a lawsuit after he found out for sure. Well, I've had heart trouble, and I thought I was going to die. And I thought, well, it would be totally unfair to him not to know who he is and where he came from.
Yeah. When did you tell Stephen that Lydon was his father?
Well, he was quite young that he actually knew that he was his father. But this attorney, Jerome Ragsdale, would always sit in for everything, and people automatically thought Jerome Ragsdale was the father.
Yeah.
But after Stephen filed his lawsuit, that's when our world turned upside down. Of course, he was an attorney. And he said to me, he said, "Mother, I'm entitled to that part of that estate."
Yeah. Whose estate?
Lyndon's estate.
When Lyndon passed away.
And he said, "I'm going for it." And I said, "Oh, son, I know the political setup in Texas." I said, "Don't open a can of worms." And here he was. I mean, he was a spitting image of Lyndon. He said, "Well, when I walk in that courtroom," I asked him not to file it in Dallas County because of the political things. He said, "I'll automatically win my lawsuit." I said, "Don't count on it, you know." But he filed, and it was really with regret, even to this day, that he filed that lawsuit.
What were the provisions of the court at that time?
Well, our money stopped in 75. Lyndon, I think, died in 73. And Jess told the attorney that he was putting everything on hold because of problems in the probate or settling the estate. But I can look back now. I think the two men, Jerome Ragsdale and Jess Kellum, they feel their pockets full.
Yeah. Well, now, Stephen was supposed to appear in court. Why did he not appear in court? Let's go into that a little bit.
You know, I have a letter from Martin Frost and Phil Graham. It was real strange. Stephen had served his time in the U.S. Navy, and after he filed his lawsuit, the Navy suddenly decided that he was a deserter. And
even though he had an honorable discharge.
He had an honorable discharge. So they arrested Stephen. It was close to Christmas time, and I was horrified. Stephen had already had cancer and was taking treatment. So to show you how they are, the military and all the mess, they picked him up. They first took him to Corpus, and if I had my time to go over, I would have sued. I would have made a big national mess out of it. Here he was. They knew he was sick. They handcuffed him, put him in a van, and drove him to Corpus. Well, from Dallas to Corpus is not a short trip. So when Steve got there, of course, I was already on the phone talking to people. They said his feet was swollen so bad they had to put him in a wheelchair. Well, when I got a hold of, the best I remember, it was Admiral Taylor. I said, "You people have made a mistake." Well, what they did, he told me that they'd let him come home, but they didn't. They put him in an ambulance and took him to Brooks General Hospital in San Antonio, who has all of Lyndon's medical records. So when I found out that they had taken him there, I caught a plane and flew to San Antonio to see my son, whereas he came up missing. He was gone about 2 months. No one had given me an answer.